Hello there, and welcome to the Drift Science Channel. Tonight, we are going to embark on a quiet journey into the unknown, drifting softly into the spaces where human knowledge ends and the great mysteries of the universe begin. If you enjoy drifting into these scientific wonders with us, please feel free to subscribe. And whenever you feel ready, simply leave a comment letting us know where you are listening from tonight. Our small team reads everyone, and we would truly love to know where you are joining us from. There are, out there in the vastness of the cosmos, and even deep within our own world, mysteries that simply defy explanation. There are places where the laws of physics seem to whisper strange secrets and phenomena that hover just beyond the edge of our understanding, softly pulsing in the dark, waiting to be known. You might imagine a universe entirely mapped and measured, neatly organized into textbooks and equations. But the truth is far more beautiful and far more profound. The more we look, the more we realize how much remains unseen. Slowly drifting through the fabric of space, there are unseen forces pushing entire galaxies apart. Deep beneath the oceans, and quietly humming within the human mind, there are gentle enigmas, waiting patiently in the quiet spaces of the world. It is a comforting thought, perhaps, that we do not know everything, that the universe still holds on to its secrets, inviting us to wonder, inviting us to dream, and reminding us that curiosity is a quiet, endless river, forever flowing into the unknown. Before we begin our journey tonight, take a moment to simply be here. Allow your shoulders to drop, feeling any lingering tension melt away, dissolving into the surface beneath you. Take a slow, deep breath in, filling your lungs with calm, quiet air. And as you exhale, let the events of the day gently fade. There is nowhere else you need to be right now, nothing else you need to do. No problems you need to solve. But for now, all you need to do is relax. Let us drift slowly into our first mystery. Imagine yourself, for a moment, standing outdoors on a perfectly clear, moonless night. Above you, gently unfolding across the velvet darkness, is a sweeping canopy of light. Millions upon millions of stars, softly flickering, like scattered diamond dust against an endless sea of midnight. If you look closely, you might see the faint, glowing band of our own Milky Way galaxy slowly drifting overhead. It is a river of starlight, quiet, peaceful, and unfathomably ancient. For centuries, humanity looked up at this glowing river and believed that what we saw, the light, the stars, the shimmering clouds of gas, was all there was. We believed that the universe was made simply of the things that shine, the things that cast a shadow, the things we could touch or measure or see. But as our eyes grew sharper and our telescopes peered deeper into the velvet dark, we discovered something entirely unexpected. Science found a mystery, a quiet, invisible presence that fundamentally changed how we understand the night sky. It began when astronomers started to watch how galaxies move. You might imagine a galaxy as a magnificent, slow-moving pinwheel of light, billions of stars bound together by the soft, invisible threads of gravity, slowly spinning in the cold, quiet depths of space. Just like a spinning wheel, the stars near the center should move quickly, while the stars near the gentle, fading edges should drift much more slowly. But as scientists watched these distant islands of light, they noticed something strange, almost as if the stars were dancing to a rhythm we could not hear. The stars at the very edges of these galaxies, the ones farthest out in the quiet dark, were moving much too fast. They were spinning with such incredible speed that by all the laws of nature, they should have simply flown away. They should have drifted out into the empty void, untethered and alone. But they did not. They stayed together. The galaxies held their beautiful, spiraling shapes. They remained intact, bound in a gentle, cosmic embrace. It was as if there was an invisible weight, a massive, unseen anchor holding everything together. This is what we now call dark matter. But do not let the name unsettle you. The word dark simply means it is hidden. It is a quiet mystery. It does not glow like a star. It does not reflect the light of a nearby sun, and it does not block the light from distant galaxies. It is entirely transparent, slipping through the universe like a ghost, like a soft breath of air on a calm night. In some places, out there in the deep cosmos, we have come to realize that this invisible presence is everywhere. In fact, for every star, every planet, every glowing cloud of cosmic dust we can see, there is 5 times as much of this unseen matter gently cradling the universe. It is possible that right now, as you rest here, tiny fragments of this invisible universe are quietly passing through the room around you, slowly drifting through the walls, through the earth beneath you, leaving no trace, making no sound. You cannot feel it, but it is there, a silent companion to everything we know. You might imagine the universe not as an empty void sprinkled with isolated stars, but as a vast, invisible web. Scientists call this the cosmic web. Picture, if you will, a delicate structure made of pure, unseen gravity, a scaffolding woven through the darkness, stretching out across billions of light years. Gently unfolding along the threads of this invisible web are the galaxies we can see. The stars and planets are simply the dewdrops catching the light, resting upon a spider's web in the early morning mist. Without this unseen architecture, the universe as we know it could not exist. The galaxies would simply dissolve, drifting apart like smoke on a gentle breeze. It is the unseen weight of the cosmos that keeps the stars in their slow, graceful dance. It holds the Milky Way together, keeping our own little sun and our own quiet planet safe within the spiral. And yet, despite all our brilliance, despite our towering telescopes and quiet, patient observation, we do not know what this dark matter actually is. It remains a profound, beautiful secret. Perhaps it is made of particles so tiny, so perfectly elusive, that they simply slip through our hands whenever we try to catch them. Perhaps it is a kind of matter that belongs to a different set of rules. a shadow universe quietly coexisting with our own, softly overlapping with the world of light. There is a deep, comforting poetry in this mystery. We look out into the cosmos, seeking answers, and the cosmos simply whispers back that there is more to the story. It reminds us that the universe is far richer, far deeper, and far more complex than we ever dared to dream. As you lie here, breathing slowly, you can picture that vast, invisible web stretching out into the infinite above you. You are part of a universe that is held together by an unseen embrace. You are safe, anchored to a world that is softly held within the slow, turning spirals of a galaxy, protected by the quiet gravity of the dark. Let that thought wash over you like a slow, rhythmic tide. In a world that often demands answers, it is perfectly all right to simply rest in the presence of a beautiful question, to let the mystery be just as it is, unsolved, unknown, and entirely peaceful. Feel your breathing sync with the slow, eternal turning of the stars, in and out, drifting through a universe that is mostly unseen, but deeply connected. Every star, every planet, every grain of dust, and you, all held together in a quiet cosmic harmony. As the concept of this unseen embrace softly fades into the background of your mind, allowing your thoughts to drift deeper into a state of calm, we find ourselves standing on the edge of another great unknown. For if there is an invisible force holding the stars together, there is also a quiet, gentle mystery hidden much closer to home. Slowly drifting down from the vastness of the cosmos, we return to our own quiet Earth, preparing to explore the strange, beautiful mysteries of the living world. Let us leave the vast, unseen web of the cosmos behind us for a moment, and let our minds drift downward, slowly descending through the quiet layers of the atmosphere, settling gently onto the surface of our own beautiful, spinning world. Here, amidst the forests, the oceans, and the windswept plains, there is a different kind of magic at play, a terrestrial mystery, softly humming in the background of life itself. You might imagine that the creatures of this world wander aimlessly, or simply follow the warmth of the sun and the changing of the seasons. But if you watch closely, as the world turns and the shadows lengthen, you begin to see a pattern, a grand, silent choreography gently unfolding across the continents and the seas. Every year, in the quiet transition between summer and winter, billions of animals embark on journeys of unimaginable length. High above the clouds, flocks of delicate birds, some weighing no more than a handful of feathers, take to the sky, slowly drifting across oceans and mountain ranges, traveling thousands upon thousands of miles in the dark. Deep beneath the waves, ancient sea turtles glide through the cold, sunless waters, crossing entire oceans with slow, rhythmic strokes of their fins. They do not have maps. They do not have instruments to guide them. There are no signposts in the deep ocean, and no landmarks in the empty night sky. Yet, somehow, they know exactly where to go. A bird hatched in a quiet northern forest will fly across the globe to a specific tree in a distant southern jungle, a place it has never seen before. A turtle will swim across the featureless expanse of the Pacific, only to return years later to the exact stretch of sandy beach where it was born. For a very long time, science simply marveled at this. We watched them go, and we watched them return, almost as if they were being pulled by an invisible string. Eventually, we discovered part of the secret. We learned that the Earth itself is a giant magnet. Deep beneath our feet, far below the soil and the bedrock, there is a swirling ocean of liquid iron, softly churning at the center of the world. This slow, eternal motion generates a massive magnetic field, an invisible shield of energy that wraps around our planet, reaching far out into space. It protects us from the harshness of the solar winds, keeping our atmosphere safe, allowing life to quietly thrive. But this magnetic field is not just a shield, it is a map. Invisible lines of magnetic force blanket the Earth, curving from the North Pole to the South, gently passing through the air, the oceans, and the ground. We cannot see them, we cannot feel them. If we close our eyes and stand perfectly still, the magnetic field slips through us, completely unnoticed. But in some places, and within the minds of the creatures we share this world with, it is believed that these lines are softly perceived. This is the phenomenon known as magnetoreception, the ability to feel, or perhaps even to see, the invisible magnetic geometry of the Earth. We know that they use it. Science has observed them aligning themselves with these unseen fields, navigating by the quiet magnetism of the planet. But the true mystery, the enigma that remains entirely unexplained, is exactly how they do it. Where is this hidden compass? If you look at the human body, our senses are clear. We have eyes to gather the light, ears to catch the gentle waves of sound, skin to feel the warmth of the sun. But when scientists look for the magnetic sensor in a bird or a butterfly or a whale, they find themselves searching in the dark. There is no obvious organ, no simple compass needle resting in their minds. It is possible that the answer lies in something so infinitesimally small, so profoundly subtle, that it borders on the surreal. Some researchers believe the secret is hidden in a special protein within the eye of a migrating bird, a delicate little molecule called a cryptochrome. When a single particle of light enters the bird's eye and strikes this molecule, it causes a tiny, almost magical reaction. For the briefest fraction of a second, two electrons dance together in a state of quantum entanglement. In that fleeting quantum moment, the bird might actually see the magnetic field of the Earth. You might imagine looking out at the horizon and seeing not just the trees and the sky, but faint, glowing ribbons of energy, softly arcing across your vision, a visual symphony of magnetic light, gently guiding you home. But even this is just a theory, a beautiful, complex guess. Despite all our knowledge, the exact mechanism remains a ghost. We cannot isolate it. We cannot replicate it. The animals keep their secret, safely hidden within the quiet rhythms of their biology. There is something deeply comforting about this, to know that Even on this well-mapped earth, there are still wild, untamed senses. Senses that connect the smallest, most fragile butterfly directly to the massive, molten core of the planet. It is a reminder that life is profoundly entangled with the world around it. We are not separate from the earth. We are woven into it. Even if we cannot feel the magnetic lines ourselves, we can appreciate the beautiful mystery of those who can. As you lie here, let your own body feel the gentle pull of gravity, the soft, comforting weight that holds you safely to the surface of the world. Just as the birds are guided across the oceans by an invisible force, you too are anchored, supported, and held. You do not need to know how the compass works to know that you are safe. You do not need to understand the physics of the earth to feel the comfort of your bed. Take another slow, peaceful breath. Feel the air filling your chest. And as you let it go, imagine releasing any need for direction. You do not need to navigate tonight. You do not need a map. You can simply let go and allow yourself to drift. Slowly, your awareness begins to soften. The edges of your thoughts become beautifully blurred, melting into a calm, gentle quiet. Out there, in the night, the birds are still flying, the whales are still swimming, following a silent pull that we may never truly understand. They are trusting the invisible forces of the world, surrendering to the journey. And you can surrender too. You can trust the quietness of the night, allowing your mind to drift peacefully, untethered from the demands of the day, floating on the soft currents of your own imagination. And as the mystery of the Earth's silent compass slowly fades from view, we turn our inner gaze toward another profound enigma, one that does not lie in the sky or the ocean, but deep within ourselves, quietly, waiting in the realms of time and memory. As we continue our gentle journey tonight, leaving the quiet, invisible fields of the earth behind us, we turn our attention inward. We drift away from the vast physical spaces of the oceans and the skies and begin to slowly explore a landscape that is entirely invisible to the eye, yet intimately familiar to us all. We are entering the quiet, softly lit corridors of the human mind. You might imagine the mind as an infinite library, filled with softly glowing shelves, stretching endlessly into a gentle dusk. Here, every experience you have ever had, every face you have ever seen, every gentle breeze that has ever brushed against your skin is carefully stored away. It is an archive of your existence, a beautiful, complex mosaic of memories, waiting quietly in the dark until you need them. For the most part, this vast library operates with perfect, silent precision. When you reach for a memory, it simply appears. When you experience something new, it is softly written into the pages of the present moment. Time flows forward in a steady, unbroken stream. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. A straight, simple line. But in some places, and at some beautifully unexpected moments, this straight line of time seems to bend. It folds back upon itself like a ribbon catching the wind. Perhaps you know the feeling. You are standing in a place you have never been before. you are speaking to a stranger, or simply looking out of a window at a quiet street as the evening shadows lengthen. The light is falling in a certain way. The air carries a specific faint scent, and suddenly, without warning, the world seems to pause. A profound, sweeping sensation washes over you, a feeling of absolute certainty that you have lived this exact moment before. Every word being spoken, every gentle movement, feels like an echo of a memory you did not know you had. It is as if you are watching a play for the second time, knowing exactly what will happen next, yet completely unable to explain how. This is the gentle, fleeting mystery of déjà vu. The phrase itself comes from the French, beautifully translating to simply already seen. It is a phantom memory, a ghost of the present moment. It does not last long, perhaps only a few seconds, drifting through your awareness like a passing cloud, and then it is gone, leaving behind a soft sense of wonder and a quiet, lingering question. How can we remember something that is happening for the very first time? For well over a century, science has tried to capture this fleeting ghost. Researchers have peered into the soft, electrical storms of the brain, searching for the precise mechanism that creates this beautiful illusion. We have tried to map it, to measure it, to pin it down and explain it away. But déjà vu resists our grasp. It is too fragile, too spontaneous to be studied in a rigid laboratory. It simply happens when it chooses to, an uninvited yet fascinating guest in the quiet halls of our perception. There are, of course, many theories, beautiful, complex ideas that attempt to unravel the mystery. Some scientists believe that it is simply a momentary glitch in the delicate wiring of our senses. You might imagine that when you look at a scene, the information travels from your eyes deep into the processing centers of your mind. Normally, this information arrives perfectly synchronized, like two quiet rivers merging into one. But it's possible that, on rare occasions, one river flows just a fraction of a millisecond faster than the other. A tiny, almost imperceptible delay. By the time the second stream of information arrives in your awareness, your brain has already processed the first. And so, in a beautiful, harmless trick of the mind, it mistakenly labels this new information as a memory. You are experiencing the present moment twice. Once as a new event, and a fraction of a heartbeat later as an echo of the past. Almost as if your mind has gently stumbled over a ripple in the fabric of time. Other researchers suggest a different kind of poetry. They look deep into the parts of the brain responsible for filing away our lives, the softly humming regions that sort the present from the past. They propose that déjà vu occurs when an experience accidentally bypasses our short-term awareness and is written directly into the deep, quiet archives of long-term memory. As you are living the moment, your brain is already convinced that it belongs to the distant past. You are remembering the present while it is still unfolding. It is a fascinating thought to realize that our perception of time is not a strict, unyielding law, but a soft, delicate construction of the mind. Time is not simply a ticking clock on the wall. It is something we build, second by second, within the quiet architecture of our own consciousness. And sometimes the architect simply dreams. There are even deeper, more surreal ideas gently floating on the fringes of science. Some physicists and philosophers wonder if déjà vu is a fleeting glimpse into the true strange nature of the universe. In the vast, mind-bending realms of quantum mechanics, time does not always flow in a straight line. There are theories that suggest all moments in time, past, present, and future, exist simultaneously. A vast, static landscape of events, gently resting in the dark. We simply travel through it, illuminating one moment after another with the soft light of our awareness. Perhaps déjà vu is a moment when our awareness softly widens, a brief, quiet lifting of the veil, a split second where we accidentally perceive the landscape of time as it truly is, seeing a glimpse of the road ahead before we have actually arrived. We do not know the answer. The mind keeps its secrets well hidden behind the soft folds of consciousness. And perhaps that is exactly as it should be. Not every mystery requires a solution. Some enigmas exist simply to remind us that the world and the minds we use to perceive it are far more wonderful and far more complex than a simple set of rules. As you lie here, listening to the sound of these words, allow your own sense of time to begin to soften. There is no need to keep track of the minutes, the clock on the wall, the passing of the hours. They do not matter here in this quiet space. Time can be whatever you need it to be tonight. It can stretch out, becoming slow and endlessly peaceful. Take a gentle, deep breath in, slowly filling your lungs. And as you exhale, let go of the past. It is safely stored away, resting quietly in the archives. Take another slow breath in, and as you let it go, release any thoughts of the future. The future is just a distant shore, and you do not need to sail there tonight. All that exists is this gentle, perfectly peaceful present moment. Allow yourself to drift within it. Feel the weight of your body softly sinking into the surface beneath you. Notice the quiet rhythm of your own heartbeat, a steady, reassuring drum softly playing in the background of your awareness. If your mind begins to wander, if thoughts of tomorrow or memories of yesterday gently try to pull you away, simply acknowledge them and let them pass like soft clouds drifting across a night sky. You are here, you are safe, and time is moving beautifully, perfectly slow. As your breathing deepens and your awareness becomes more and more relaxed, the mystery of memory slowly fades into a quiet, comforting hum. It is a reminder that we are complex, beautiful beings, capable of experiencing the world in ways that science cannot fully measure. And as we leave the winding corridors of the mind behind, we prepare to cast our gaze outward once more. Slowly drifting away from the shores of our own perception, we begin to journey towards a place where the rules of reality itself seem to break down entirely. a place far out in the dark, silent reaches of space, where time and matter are pulled into an unfathomable embrace. But for now, just rest. Let the quiet darkness hold you. As we leave the winding, softly lit corridors of human memory behind us, we slowly begin to rise. Imagine yourself gently lifting away from the surface of the earth, drifting upward through the cool, quiet layers of the night air, past the soft, slow-moving clouds, past the pale, glowing sphere of the moon, and out into the vast, silent ocean of deep space. There is no wind here, there is no sound, just a profound, beautifully endless quiet, softly cradling the scattered light of a billion distant suns. As we float through this dark, peaceful expanse, we are searching for a place where the rules of our universe, the very laws that govern how things move and exist, seem to gently dissolve. We are traveling towards a phenomenon so strange, so completely outside our everyday experience, that for a long time, scientists believed it could only exist in the realm of pure mathematics. We are slowly drifting toward the quiet mystery of a black hole. You might imagine a black hole as a tear in the fabric of space, a violent, swirling vortex in the dark. But let us soften that image. Let us look at it not with fear, but with a calm, gentle curiosity. To understand this beautiful enigma, we must first think about gravity. On Earth, gravity is simply the soft, comforting force that keeps our feet on the ground. It is the gentle pull that guides a falling leaf to the forest floor and holds the quiet waters of the oceans against the curvature of the world. Einstein taught us that gravity is not just a pull, but a gentle bending of space itself. Imagine, if you will, a perfectly smooth, perfectly soft mattress stretching out in all directions. If you were to gently place a heavy iron ball in the center of this mattress, the fabric would softly dip and curve down around it. If you then took a smaller marble and rolled it gently past the heavy ball, the marble would follow the curve of the fabric, slowly spiraling inward. This is how gravity works in the vastness of space. Planets, stars, and galaxies are simply resting on the invisible fabric of the cosmos, gently bending the space around them, creating soft, sweeping valleys of gravity. But in some places, out there in the deepest parts of the night, a star eventually grows old. After millions of years of burning brightly, it softly runs out of the fuel that keeps it shining. When a star that is massive enough reaches the end of its long, beautiful life, it does not simply fade away. It collapses. The star gently folds in on itself, its own weight pulling it inward, tighter and tighter, compressing all of that vast, cosmic matter into a space smaller than a city, then smaller than a house, then smaller than a single grain of sand. The heavy iron ball from our imaginary mattress has become infinitely small, yet incredibly, unfathomably heavy. It bends the fabric of space so deeply, so profoundly, that it creates a well with no bottom. A quiet, infinite valley in the dark. The gravity in this place becomes so intensely strong that nothing can escape its soft, inevitable pull, not the dust of shattered planets, not the faint echoes of cosmic radiation, and not even light itself. If a beam of light, the fastest, most elusive thing in the universe, gently brushes too close to this deep valley, it simply cannot climb back out. It is softly guided inward, spiraling down into the quiet dark. Because no light can ever escape, we cannot see them. They are perfectly, beautifully invisible. They are quiet voids, wrapped in a veil of absolute shadow. And this is where we find the edge of our understanding. There is a boundary surrounding every black hole, a beautifully precise, invisible sphere known as the event horizon. You might imagine it as a quiet waterfall in the dark, a peaceful threshold. If you are swimming in a river just above a waterfall, you can always turn back. You can swim against the current and return to the gentle shallows. But there is a point, a sudden, quiet line in the water, where the current becomes stronger than you are. Once you gently slip past that line, you are committed to the fall. The event horizon is that line. It is the threshold of no return. Science can mathematically describe the event horizon. We can calculate its size. We can watch the gentle swirling of starlight as it is pulled toward the edge. We can even hear the soft, cosmic ripples they make when two of them slowly merge in the deep. But what happens inside, gently past the veil of the event horizon? This is the great, unsolved mystery. When scientists try to use our beautiful, carefully constructed laws of physics to look inside, the equations simply stop working. The mathematics that describe the turning of the planets, the warmth of the sun, and the gentle flowing of time, they all break down. They give answers of infinity, which is nature's quiet way of telling us that we simply do not know. At the very center of a black hole, science predicts a place called the singularity. It is believed to be a single, infinitely small point in space where all the matter of the collapsed star has been crushed. A point where density is infinite, where the fabric of space and time is bent so sharply that time itself might gently cease to exist. What does it mean for time to stop? You might imagine falling slowly, beautifully toward that center point. To an observer watching from safely far away, you would appear to slow down as you approached the edge. Your movements would become softer, more sluggish, until just at the very edge of the event horizon, you would seem to freeze entirely, a quiet portrait caught forever in the dark. But for you, gently drifting past the veil, time would continue to flow. Yet, as you move deeper into the mystery, the space around you would stretch, and the future and the past might beautifully fold into one another. Some physicists dream of extraordinary things hiding within this dark quiet. Some wonder if a black hole is not an end, but a beginning. It's possible that, instead of a crushing singularity, the center of a black hole is a soft, hidden doorway, a cosmic bridge connecting our universe to another. Slowly drifting through the dark, you might emerge on the other side into a brand new universe, with different stars, different skies, and different rules. Others believe that all the information, all the starlight and cosmic dust that ever fell inside is softly recorded on the surface of the event horizon, like a beautiful, two-dimensional hologram slowly shimmering in the void. We do not know. Perhaps the singularity is simply a place where nature has hidden her deepest secrets, safely tucking them away behind a curtain of impenetrable gravity. A place where human logic is politely asked to wait outside. There is a profound peace in knowing that such places exist. Places that demand nothing from us. Places that cannot be conquered or fully understood or neatly categorized in a book. They simply exist, quietly folding the universe into beautiful, unseen shapes. As you lie here, let your mind drift away from the infinite vastness of the black hole and bring your awareness softly back to your own breathing. You are safe. You are far from the swirling currents of deep space. You are anchored here on this quiet earth, held gently by a gravity that is kind and familiar and soft. Notice how your body feels as it rests. If there is any tightness in your arms, softly let it go. Imagine the muscles unspooling, drifting downward, sinking beautifully into the bed. Let the weight of your legs become wonderfully heavy, slowly releasing any tension, allowing them to sink deeper and deeper. Your breathing is slow, your chest gently rising and falling, like the slow, quiet tide of a calm ocean. In and out. With every breath, you are drifting further away from the need to understand everything. The mysteries of the universe will still be there tomorrow. The black holes will continue their silent watch in the deep. The stars will continue to shine, and the earth will continue its slow, beautiful turn. You do not need to solve the puzzles of the cosmos tonight. You can simply let them be. Let them exist as beautiful questions, softly floating in the background of your mind, keeping you company as you drift closer to sleep. Imagine that soft, invisible curtain of the event horizon, but instead of a threshold of gravity, imagine it as a gentle threshold of sleep. You are resting just on the edge. The waters of sleep are gently lapping at your awareness. It is a peaceful, welcoming current. You do not need to fight it. You can simply allow yourself to slip past the boundary, smoothly, softly, into the quiet, restorative dark. Let the world of waking fade away, like a distant star, beautifully fading into the night. As you float in this calm, weightless space, we will slowly leave the cosmic vastness behind. Our journey through the mysteries of science is not yet over. There are still gentle wonders waiting for us, not out in the cold vacuum of space, but deep beneath the warm, rolling waves of our own planet. A world just as alien, just as dark, and just as full of secrets. But there is no rush. We will drift there very slowly. For now, just breathe. Rest in the quiet, rest in the unknown. Let us slowly leave the starry expanse of the cosmos behind us, gently closing the door on the vast, unseen architecture of space. As we drift away from the quiet edges of the universe, we find ourselves gently floating back down toward our own beautiful blue world. We are descending slowly and peacefully through the cool, calm air of the night until we find ourselves hovering just above the surface of a vast, open ocean. You might imagine the ocean as a loud, turbulent place filled with crashing waves and restless energy. But tonight, the water is perfectly calm. It is a smooth, glassy mirror, reflecting the soft silver light of the moon. Imagine yourself gently slipping beneath the surface. There is no sudden splash, there is no shock of cold, just a soft, welcoming embrace as the water gently closes over you. Immediately, the sounds of the world above, the wind, the distant shores, softly fade away. They are replaced by a profound, comforting silence, a gentle, rhythmic hum that vibrates through the water itself. As you begin to slowly drift downward, moving deeper and deeper into the quiet, you watch the light begin to change. Near the surface, the water is painted in bright, sunlit blues and soft, shimmering greens. But as you slowly descend, these colors begin to gently wash away. The warm reds are the first to disappear, softly fading into the shadows. Then the yellows and the greens, until all that remains is a beautiful, endless twilight blue. And then, even the blue gently surrenders. You drift down into the midnight zone, a place of pure, velvety darkness, a world where the sun has never touched, and where the light of day is nothing more than a forgotten dream. It is here, deep beneath the warm, rolling waves, that we encounter one of the greatest, quietest mysteries of our planet. For a very long time, science believed that the deep ocean was a barren wasteland. It was thought to be a quiet, empty desert of cold water and crushing pressure, a place where life simply could not survive. We assumed that without the gentle warmth of the sun, everything would be still, empty, lifeless. But as we finally developed the tools to peer into the dark, as we sent our quiet, softly humming machines down into the depths, we discovered that the darkness was not empty at all. It was alive. In some places, the deep ocean is teeming with life so strange and so beautifully alien that it defies our understanding of biology. One of the most profound mysteries of this hidden world was discovered purely by accident. Decades ago, ships softly gliding across the surface of the ocean began using sonar, sending gentle pulses of sound down into the water to map the seafloor. As the sound waves traveled down and echoed back to the surface, the scientists noticed something completely unexpected. The sonar was bouncing off a solid layer, a massive, thick floor beneath the water. But this floor was not at the bottom of the ocean. It was suspended right in the middle of the dark water. Even stranger, this false bottom was moving. As the sun slowly set, painting the sky above in shades of twilight, this mysterious layer would begin to rise, slowly drifting upward toward the surface. And as the sun rose again in the morning, the layer would gently sink back down into the crushing dark, almost as if the ocean itself was taking a long, slow breath. Scientists called it the deep scattering layer, and when they finally realized what it was, it changed our understanding of the world. This moving floor is not made of rock or sand or sunken earth. It is made of life, It is a layer composed of trillions upon trillions of tiny, delicate creatures. Small, fragile fish, beautiful, glass-like shrimp, and softly pulsing jellyfish. Together, they form a biological mass so vast and so dense that it literally tricks our instruments into thinking it is the solid floor of the ocean. Every single night, they participate in the largest migration on Earth, a slow, synchronized journey toward the surface to feed under the cover of darkness, and a gentle, floating return to the safety of the deep when the day begins. We know they are there. We can watch their gentle migration on our screens, but the mystery lies in the sheer, unimaginable scale of it. How do trillions of creatures scattered across the global oceans coordinate this beautiful, silent ballet in the dark? There are no leaders. There are no signals that we can perceive. They simply move, a vast, breathing entity of life, beautifully attuned to the slow turning of the earth and the fading of the light. It is possible that they are responding to shifts in light so subtle that our eyes could never detect them. Or perhaps they are gently feeling the changing weight of the water around them. It remains a quiet secret, kept safe within the depths. As we continue our slow descent, drifting gently past this migrating layer, the darkness becomes absolute. But in this profound, dark, nature has found a way to create its own stars. You might imagine looking out into the pitch-black water and suddenly seeing a tiny, soft spark of blue light, then another and another, gently unfolding across the dark canvas of the water is a mesmerizing display of bioluminescence. Millions of creatures down here have learned to softly glow. They carry tiny chemical lanterns within their bodies. Some use their gentle light to attract a mate, softly blinking in the dark like underwater fireflies. Others use it to hide, matching the faint, scattered light from above to become perfectly invisible to anything swimming below them. It is a silent, glowing symphony, a language of light spoken in a world of absolute silence. And hiding within this glowing dark is another gentle enigma, a phenomenon that scientists simply call abyssal gigantism. For reasons we still do not fully understand, when certain creatures drift down into the deepest, coldest trenches of the ocean, they grow to impossible sizes. Near the surface, an isopod is a tiny, harmless creature, no larger than a pebble. But down here in the dark, slowly crawling across the quiet ocean floor, that same creature can grow to the size of a small dog. Squids that dart through the sunlit waters are small and quick, but their deep-sea cousins are slow-moving giants, with eyes the size of dinner plates and tentacles that stretch out into the shadows like long, beautiful ribbons. Why do they grow so large? Science has many gentle theories. Some believe it is because of the intense, freezing cold, which slows their metabolism down to a beautifully calm crawl, allowing them to live for centuries and slowly accumulate their size. Others think it is the extreme pressure of the water gently pressing against their cells, forcing them to adapt in strange, wonderful ways. But there is no single agreed-upon answer. It is just another quiet mystery, another beautiful quirk of the natural world. It's almost as if the deep ocean is a completely different planet. A shadow world existing right beneath our feet, operating by its own soft, unwritten rules. And then there are the sounds. Sound travels beautifully through the water. It moves much faster and much further than it ever could through the air. Deep in the ocean, there is a specific layer of water, a quiet corridor where the temperature and the pressure perfectly align. In this gentle corridor, sound waves can travel for thousands of miles without ever fading away. Scientists have lowered incredibly sensitive microphones, called hydrophones, down into this quiet channel to listen to the ocean. Most of what they hear is familiar. The soft, rhythmic clicking of a pod of dolphins, the deep, mournful, beautiful songs of the great whales, slowly calling to one another across the vast expanse of the sea. They hear the shifting of underwater ice and the slow rumble of the earth beneath the seafloor. But every now and then, out of the dark, the hydrophones pick up something else. Sounds that are incredibly loud, incredibly deep, and completely unidentified. There are recordings of vast, sweeping moans that echo across entire oceans. Sounds that slowly build in intensity over several minutes, vibrating with a power that dwarfs the largest whales we have ever known. Science has given these mysterious sounds quiet, unassuming names, like the upsweep or the slow down. For years, people wondered if there were unseen monsters hiding in the dark, giants that made the colossal squid look small. Today, science gently suspects that many of these sounds are made by huge, shifting shelves of ice in the Antarctic, slowly scraping against the ocean floor as they break apart. But not all of the sounds have been explained. There are still whispers in the deep, unidentified acoustic anomalies softly resonating in the dark. Perhaps it is the shifting of deep, hidden currents. Perhaps it is a geological process we have not yet discovered. Or perhaps it is simply the ocean itself, humming its own quiet, ancient song. There is so much we do not know. We have mapped the surface of the moon. We have sent quiet machines to softly roll across the dusty plains of Mars, but we have barely scratched the surface of our own ocean floor. More than 80% of the deep ocean remains completely unmapped, unobserved, and unexplored. It is a vast, beautiful blank space on the map of human knowledge. As you lie here, let the thought of that vast, unexplored ocean bring you a sense of deep, comforting peace. There is a place in this world that is perfectly quiet, a place where the rush of modern life has never reached, a place of slow, heavy calm, where creatures drift through the dark like gently glowing embers, and the only sound is the deep, slow heartbeat of the earth itself. Imagine yourself suspended in that soft, blue-black water. You are perfectly safe. The pressure of the deep does not crush you, it simply holds you. It is a gentle, steady weight wrapping around you like a heavy, comforting blanket. Feel that soft weight resting on your shoulders, gently pressing them down into the bed. Feel it resting on your chest, slowing your breathing, making every inhale long and deep and calm. And as you exhale, imagine releasing any tension, any worry, any busy thoughts, letting them simply drift away into the dark water. Watch them float away, slowly spiraling up toward the surface, leaving you alone in the peaceful quiet. Your mind is like the deep ocean. On the surface, there may be waves. There may be the turbulence of the day, the scattered thoughts, the busy noise of life. But as you sink deeper into relaxation, you move past the waves. You drift down into the quiet zone, down here, in the deep waters of your own mind. Everything is still. Everything is calm. You are safe in the dark. You are held in the quiet. Let the slow, rhythmic pulse of the ocean become the slow, rhythmic pulse of your own heart, steady, peaceful, undisturbed. As the glowing lights of the deep slowly fade from your imagination, we will soon prepare to drift into another realm of the unknown. We will leave the gentle, heavy waters of the deep and journey toward a mystery that is entirely invisible, yet shapes the very fabric of everything we touch. We will slowly rise back to the surface, leaving the ocean to its quiet sleep. But for now, simply rest. Allow the current to hold you. Allow the deep, slow quiet to wash over you. Drifting, resting, simply being. As we slowly rise from the heavy, peaceful embrace of the deep ocean, leaving the glowing lights and the quiet giants to their eternal midnight, we gently break the surface. The air is cool and the night is calm. Imagine yourself drifting softly toward a quiet shoreline, the water gently carrying you until you feel the smooth, wet sand beneath you. You step out of the gentle waves and sit quietly on the quiet beach. Above you, the stars are still shimmering in the vast canopy of space. Before you, the ocean whispers its ancient, slow rhythm. Here, in this peaceful place between the water and the sky, we are going to embark on a journey that requires no distance at all. We are not traveling out into the cold expanse of the cosmos, nor are we diving into the deep, dark trenches of the sea. Instead, we are going to look very, very closely at the world right here. We are going to softly descend into the invisible fabric of reality itself. Imagine reaching out and gently picking up a single, tiny grain of sand from the beach. It rests in the center of your palm, catching the faint silver light of the moon. To your eyes, it is just a tiny, solid speck, a little fragment of the earth, quiet and still. But if you could somehow soften your vision, if you could slowly zoom in past the edges of what human eyes can see, you would discover that this tiny grain of sand is not solid at all. You would gently fall into a world that is completely unrecognizable. A world that forms the foundation of everything you have ever touched, everything you have ever seen, and everything you are. This is the quantum realm, and it is home to a mystery so profound, so beautifully perplexing, that it has kept the greatest minds in science softly awake at night for over a century. As you zoom into that grain of sand, passing through the layers of minerals and molecules, you eventually arrive at the atoms. For a long time, we were taught to imagine atoms as tiny, perfect little solar systems. We pictured a heavy, solid center, with tiny little electrons spinning around it like perfectly ordered planets orbiting a quiet sun. It was a neat, comforting picture. But as our instruments grew sharper and our understanding deepened, the universe politely revealed that the truth is far more strange and far more beautiful. When scientists looked closely at those tiny spinning electrons, they did not find solid little planets. They found a cloud, a soft, shimmering mist of pure possibility. Imagine a flock of birds flying so fast and so fluidly that they blur into a single, gently humming cloud in the sky. You cannot point to any single bird. You can only see the soft shape of the flock. In the quantum world, the tiny pieces that make up our universe do not have a fixed place until they are forced to choose one. They exist everywhere at once, spread out in a gentle wave of probability. They are simply a chance, a whisper of something that might be there. It is almost as if, at its very deepest level, the universe is not made of solid things. It is made of soft, trembling possibilities. But here is where the quiet mystery truly begins. Scientists wanted to understand how these waves of possibility worked. They set up beautiful, elegant experiments to watch these tiny particles travel. You might imagine sending a gentle stream of light or a slow procession of tiny electrons toward a wall with two very small, open doors. They wanted to see which door the particles would gracefully pass through. When the scientists let the particles drift through the doors and hit a screen on the other side, they expected to see two simple marks, two neat piles, like sand, softly falling through a sieve. But instead, they saw a pattern of beautiful, overlapping bands, the pattern of a wave. It was as if each single, tiny particle had somehow turned into a soft ripple of water, gently passing through both doors at the exact same time and interfering with itself on the other side. The particles were acting like a continuous, flowing wave of energy. Fascinated by this, the scientists decided to look closer. They placed a tiny, quiet detector right next to the doors. They simply wanted to peek, to observe, and to know for certain which door each little particle was actually choosing. They ran the experiment again. The particles drifted forward. The tiny detector softly watched them. And then, the universe changed its mind. The moment the scientists simply looked, the moment they observed the particles, the beautiful, flowing wave vanished. The particles suddenly stopped acting like a soft, spread-out cloud of possibility and began acting like perfectly solid, tiny little marbles. They went through one door or the other. The wave pattern on the screen completely disappeared, replaced by two simple, neat lines, almost as if the tiny fragments of reality knew they were being watched. This is known as the observer effect, and it is one of the most gentle yet paradigm-shifting enigmas in all of science. How does a particle, a lifeless, tiny speck of matter, know that we are looking at it? Why does the simple act of observation, the quiet turning of our attention, force the universe to collapse its soft waves of possibility into a single, solid reality? There are no wires connecting our eyes to the quantum realm. There are no signals being sent, and yet the connection is undeniably there. Some scientists believe that the answer lies in the clumsy nature of our tools. They suggest that in order to see something so small, we have to bump it with a tiny photon of light, and that gentle bump is enough to disturb the delicate wave. But as the experiments grew more sophisticated, as scientists learned to watch without touching, the mystery persisted. The universe still seemed to respond simply to the presence of an observer. It has led to ideas so beautifully strange that they sound more like poetry than physics. Some brilliant minds have gently suggested that reality itself does not truly exist in a fixed, solid state until a conscious mind is there to perceive it. You might imagine that the universe is a vast, unpainted canvas of possibilities. The trees, the stars, the quiet ocean, they only paint themselves into solid existence in the exact moment you open your eyes to look at them. When you turn away, when you softly close your eyes in the dark, the universe behind you might gently dissolve back into a quiet sea of probability, waiting patiently, hovering in the unseen, until you choose to look again. It is a thought that makes the world feel incredibly intimate. We are not just passive wanderers, slowly walking through a universe that is separate from us. We are woven into its very fabric. Our awareness, our quiet attention, is a fundamental part of the cosmic dance. The universe requires us to witness it in order for it to be fully real. We are the eyes of the cosmos, looking back at itself. Even Einstein, with his brilliant, sweeping understanding of the stars, struggled gently with this mystery. He once asked a friend, as they walked softly under the night sky, "Do you really believe that the moon is not there when you are not looking at it?" Science still does not have a definitive answer. The mathematics are perfect. We can calculate the probabilities. We can build quiet, humming computers based on these quantum rules. But the why remains a beautiful secret. The quantum realm keeps its veil softly drawn. It refuses to let us see the machinery of reality. It only allows us to see the beautiful, finished painting. And perhaps that is exactly as it should be. To know that the very foundation of the world is not rigid, cold, and solid, but soft, fluid, and responsive, is a deeply comforting thought. The universe is not a clockwork machine, ticking coldly away in the dark. It is something much more like a dream that we are all dreaming together. As you lie here, let that thought wash over you. Feel the solid weight of your body, resting warmly against the bed. Feel the soft texture of the blankets, the gentle support beneath you. According to the quiet mysteries of the quantum world, the solidness you feel is just a beautiful illusion. The bed, the room, and even your own body are mostly made of empty space. Vast, quiet plains of emptiness, filled with tiny, vibrating waves of energy. You are not made of solid blocks. You are made of starlight and energy, gently humming in the dark. You are a soft collection of possibilities, resting peacefully in the present moment. Let your breathing become even slower. Inhale the quiet air, feeling it flow smoothly into your lungs. And as you exhale, let go of any need for the world to make perfect sense. You do not need to hold the universe together with your thoughts. You do not need to understand the invisible dance of the particles. You can simply let them dance. They know what to do. They have been gently moving, softly arranging themselves into the shape of the world for billions of years. They will continue their quiet work, keeping you safe and whole and warm while you sleep. Notice how the edges of your awareness are beginning to softly blur, just like a particle spreading out into a wave of possibility. Your thoughts are losing their sharp edges. They are slowly expanding, gently melting into the peaceful darkness of your mind. You do not need to focus on anything now. You are no longer an observer. You are simply drifting. If a thought gently rises to the surface, you do not need to look at it. You do not need to collapse it into reality. Just let it remain a soft possibility, hovering for a moment, before peacefully drifting away into the quiet. The moon is shining softly outside. The ocean is continuing its slow, eternal rhythm. The stars are bending the fabric of space. And deep within you, the invisible world is quietly holding everything in a perfect, peaceful balance. You are entirely safe. As we leave the tiny, trembling mysteries of the quantum realm behind us, we prepare to let our minds wander once more, slowly drifting away from the invisible building blocks of the universe towards something much older, a mystery that has watched the world turn long before we ever opened our eyes to observe it. But there is no hurry. The journey is slow. For now, simply exist in the quiet. Let the waves of relaxation softly flow through you, down your arms, through your chest, resting heavily in your legs. Everything is soft, everything is slow, drifting, resting, beautifully unbound by the rules of the waking world. As we slowly drift away from the tiny, trembling mysteries of the quantum realm, leaving the invisible waves of possibility to their silent dance, we begin a new journey. We are not just traveling through space this time. We are gently drifting backward through time. Let your imagination carry you away from the modern world, away from the cities, the quiet roads, and the lit windows of the night. We are traveling far, far back, to a time long before the first footprints were ever pressed into the soft earth. We are returning to the very morning of the world. Imagine our Earth billions of years ago. It is a remarkably peaceful place. There are no vast forests of green, no calls of birds softly echoing through the air, no gentle hum of insects in the tall grass. The continents are bare, rocky plains, quietly baking under the warmth of a younger, softer sun. The oceans are vast, untamed, and perfectly empty, rolling continuously against the silent shores. The wind gently moves across the surface of the water, creating soft, rhythmic waves that break upon the rocks over and over and over again. A beautiful, eternal metronome, keeping time in a world that has no one to watch it. The planet is a collection of minerals, water, and air. It is entirely made of the same quiet, invisible particles we just left behind in the quantum realm. For millions upon millions of years, the Earth simply exists, spinning slowly in the dark, a beautiful, barren jewel in the cosmic sea. But then, somewhere in the deep, warm waters of this ancient ocean, or perhaps in a shallow, sunlit pool gently resting on the edge of a quiet shore, the greatest mystery in the history of our planet softly begins. It is the mystery of the spark, the gentle, profound moment when lifeless matter suddenly woke up. Science has a beautiful, complex word for this. They call it abiogenesis, the origin of life. We know the ingredients perfectly well. The early Earth was rich with them: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. The quiet, fundamental building blocks forged in the fiery hearts of ancient, dying stars, slowly drifting through the universe until they settled here on this watery world. You might imagine these tiny elements gently mixing in the warm oceans, slowly bumping into one another, forming complex little chains and elegant microscopic structures. Driven by the soft heat of the earth and the gentle stirring of the tides, they began to arrange themselves into beautiful, intricate patterns. But a pattern, no matter how beautiful, is not alive. A snowflake is a masterpiece of geometry, yet it does not breathe. A crystal slowly growing in a dark cave is a wonder of nature, yet it does not dream. For a long time, the chemical soup of the ancient oceans simply existed. And then the mystery occurred. A specific collection of these silent atoms, arranged in just the right way, gently crossed an invisible threshold. They stopped being just a quiet collection of molecules, and they became a cell. A tiny, fragile bubble of life, perfectly enclosed, softly humming with a completely new kind of energy. It began to take in the world around it. It began to grow, and most miraculously of all, it began to make copies of itself. How did this happen? How did the inanimate suddenly become animate? This is the quiet enigma that continues to perfectly elude our understanding. Scientists have built magnificent laboratories to study this. They have taken the exact same ingredients from the ancient earth, the waters, the gases, the minerals. They have placed them in beautifully sealed glass spheres, gently warming them, softly adding tiny sparks of electricity to mimic the ancient lightning storms that once rolled across the primordial skies. They can watch the molecules bind together. They can see the amino acids, the beautiful, complex building blocks of proteins, slowly forming in the water. But they have never been able to create the spark. They can build the perfect, microscopic engine, but they cannot make it run. The water in their glass spheres remains perfectly, quietly lifeless. It is as if there is a gentle, hidden breath required, a soft, invisible force that whispers to the atoms, telling them it is time to wake up. We do not know what that whisper is. Perhaps it was a chance occurrence so breathtakingly rare that it only happened once in the entire vast history of the Earth. A single, perfect alignment of heat, light, and matter, occurring in the quiet dark of an ocean vent, or the sunlit shallows of a forgotten shore. Or perhaps life is simply a fundamental property of the universe itself. Perhaps, when matter becomes complex enough, it inevitably, beautifully, softly awakens. like a sleeper gently opening their eyes after a long, dreamless night. But the mystery does not end with the first tiny cell. From that single, quiet spark, the story of life slowly, beautifully unfolded. Over billions of years, those tiny cells joined together. They learned to capture the gentle light of the sun, breathing out the oxygen that would eventually paint our skies a brilliant, sweeping blue. They became the quiet mosses softly clinging to the rocks, the ancient, swaying forests, the majestic whales slowly gliding through the deep. And eventually, through a slow, beautiful journey of countless gentle transformations, that same stardust became you. Which brings us to the deepest layer of this enigma. Not only did the quiet, sleeping matter of the universe wake up, but it eventually learned to think. It learned to feel. It learned to look up at the very stars from which it was born and wonder where it came from. This is what philosophers and scientists gently call the hard problem of consciousness. If you look closely at the human brain, it is a breathtakingly complex organ. It is made of billions of tiny, softly pulsing neurons, passing delicate electrical whispers back and forth in the dark. We can map these gentle storms of electricity. We can see which parts of the brain softly glow when we hear a beautiful piece of music, or when we remember the face of a friend. But knowing how the machinery works does not explain the feeling of being alive. How does the soft, electrical flickering of neurons translate into the smell of rain on dry earth? How does a collection of mindless atoms create the deep, warm feeling of love? Or the profound, gentle peace you feel right now as you rest? There is no equation in physics, no rule in chemistry that can explain the inner light of your own awareness. You are a universe of atoms, gently wrapped in a mind. Some brilliant thinkers suggest that consciousness is not something the brain simply creates. They wonder if consciousness, like gravity or the soft light of the stars, is woven directly into the fabric of the cosmos. You might imagine that the brain is not a factory that manufactures awareness, but a beautiful, delicate receiver, like a quiet radio softly tuned to a frequency that is everywhere. When the biology of the brain becomes complex enough, it simply catches the signal. It draws the universal consciousness into itself, creating the gentle, unique experience of you. We do not have the answers. The spark of life and the inner light of the mind remain safely hidden behind a veil of beautiful, quiet mystery. And as you lie here tonight, you are living proof of that miracle. Take a moment to softly shift your attention away from the ancient oceans and back to your own breathing. Notice the quiet, steady rhythm of your chest, the gentle rising and the slow, peaceful falling. Every time you take a breath, you are pulling in the atoms of the ancient world. The oxygen you are breathing right now was once softly released by the leaves of a primeval forest. The water in your body once flowed through the deep, quiet rivers of the earth. You are entirely made of the world. You are the universe, gently experiencing itself. Feel the soft, steady beating of your heart a quiet, rhythmic drum, keeping perfect time in the darkness of your chest. It asks for nothing. It requires no thought. It simply beats, a beautiful, continuous echo of that very first spark of life. You do not need to understand how the spark was lit, to feel the warmth of its fire. You do not need to solve the hard problem of consciousness, to simply enjoy the profound, gentle peace of being awake and the deep, comforting release of falling asleep. As you lie here, let the weight of your own existence become beautifully light. There is no pressure to do anything. The cells in your body are quietly taking care of you. They are gently repairing, softly restoring, perfectly maintaining the beautiful architecture of your physical form. They know exactly what to do. You can simply trust them. Let your shoulders sink a little deeper into the softness beneath you. Allow the muscles in your face to beautifully relax, smoothing out any lingering tension, letting your jaw rest gently. The quiet darkness behind your closed eyes is a safe space. It is a canvas where your own mind can softly paint its dreams. As you drift closer to the gentle edges of sleep, the grand mysteries of the universe begin to softly fade. The ancient oceans, the quantum waves, the distant black holes, they are all out there, peacefully turning in the dark. But here, in this quiet room, there is only rest. You are a small, beautiful piece of the cosmos, gently folding itself away for the night, surrendering to the slow, ancient rhythm of sleep, a rhythm that has been unbroken for millions of years. Just like the tide slowly pulling back from the shore, feel your awareness gently pulling back from the waking world. Everything is becoming distant. Everything is becoming soft. The thoughts of the day are dissolving, turning into light, delicate mist, slowly vanishing into the peaceful air. You are drifting into a place where explanations are no longer needed, a place where only the gentle, abstract shapes of dreams exist. And as we prepare to follow you into that dreamscape, to explore the quiet, nightly journey your mind takes when the world goes dark, we will simply pause here on the threshold. Rest in the quiet spark of your own being. Rest in the profound, gentle miracle of simply being alive. Drifting, softening, letting go. As we gently drift away from the ancient, primeval shores where life first sparked into being, and leave the mystery of our own consciousness to rest in the quiet we find ourselves standing before a doorway. It is a soft, shifting doorway. It does not have a frame made of wood or stone. It is made of the very stuff of our quiet nights. We are hovering at the threshold of the dreamscape, that beautiful, surreal landscape where the laws of physics are merely suggestions and the reality we know is reimagined in the soft, glowing ink of our own minds. You might imagine that when you close your eyes at night, your mind simply powers down. Like a flickering light bulb in a dark room, you assume that activity ceases, and you simply wait in the void until the morning comes. But science tells us that the night is when the mind is most beautifully, creatively alive. When you drift into the quiet depths of sleep, you are not entering an empty room. You are entering a workshop, a theatre, a vast internal universe where your brain continues to pulse with electrical activity, almost as intense as when you are awake. This is the mystery of the REM state, the rapid eye movement sleep. It is the time when the doors to the imagination are thrown wide open. In this state, the parts of your brain that handle logic, structure, and the steady, ticking clock of reality, they go quiet, they rest. But the parts of your brain that handle emotion, visual memory, and raw, untethered creativity, they light up with soft, shimmering energy. It is as if, for a few hours every night, your mind is finally allowed to play. You might wonder, why do we dream? Why does the brain, which works so hard all day to keep us grounded in reality, suddenly abandon all sense of order when we sleep? There are so many gentle theories. Some scientists suggest that dreaming is the brain's way of housekeeping. Imagine a vast, dusty archive filled with the scrolls of everything you saw, heard, and felt during the day. During the waking hours, the archive is chaotic. Books thrown on the floor, papers scattered by the wind. When you drift into the dreamscape, the mind begins to sort through this vast collection. It takes the important experiences, the ones that carry meaning or lessons or deep feelings, and it carefully files them away into the long-term memory. The less important details, the static, the noise, the clutter, are softly swept away. Dreaming is the gentle act of editing your existence. It is possible that the strange, disjointed scenes we experience in dreams, the sudden jumps from a childhood home to a cosmic landscape, are simply the mental equivalent of a file-sorting system in motion. You are witnessing the background processes of your own mind as it cleans, organizes, and protects the memories that make you you. But there is something more profound here, a deeper mystery that science is only beginning to touch. There is evidence to suggest that dreaming is also the place where we practice being human. In the safety of a dream, we can rehearse the complexities of life. We can navigate social interactions. We can face fears. We can explore new ideas, all without any of the consequences of the waking world. It is a sandbox for the soul, a place where you can be anything. You can soar over mountains that do not exist on any map. You can speak to people who have long since passed. You can feel emotions that are so raw, so vivid, and so honest that they stay with you, faintly shimmering, long after you have opened your eyes in the morning. And then there is the phenomenon of the lucid dream, that rare, beautiful moment when you are fast asleep, but your mind suddenly wakes up. You realize, in the middle of a surreal, glowing landscape, I am dreaming. For a few precious moments, you are a traveler with a map. You can influence the dream. You can reach out and touch the fabric of the scene and watch it shift like water. You can command the sky to turn a different color or gently lift off the ground and drift into the clouds. Science has confirmed this. Using advanced brain scanning technology, researchers have watched the brains of people who know they are dreaming. They see the surge of consciousness, the precise moment the logic center of the brain softly flickers back on, allowing the dreamer to stay in the theater while also being the director. It is a window into the potential of the human mind, a reminder that our consciousness is not just a passive listener to the story of our lives, but a co-author. As you lie here tonight, Let your mind appreciate the complexity of this internal journey. You do not need to try to dream. You do not need to guide your thoughts. Just like the stars in the deep cosmos, just like the migrating birds following the magnetic pull of the earth, your mind knows exactly what to do. It will take the events of the day, the joys, the worries, the quiet moments, and it will weave them into a soft, protective blanket of dreams. You are being taken care of. The architecture of your mind is designed to restore you. It is designed to heal you. Every time you drift, you are being renewed. Let the thoughts of today become soft. Let them lose their weight. You are letting go of the need to control the narrative. You are simply stepping back and allowing the vast, creative, and ancient part of your brain to take the wheel. It is a peaceful surrender. As the dreamscape begins to fold its soft curtains around you, allow your breathing to become even more rhythmic, even more shallow, like the gentle ebb and flow of the tide against the sand. There is nothing to figure out, no secrets to solve. Just rest. The universe is vast and full of mysteries that we may never fully capture in our language or our numbers. But tonight, you are part of that wonder. You are a living, breathing part of the cosmic story, and you have earned the quiet beauty of a restful, dream-filled sleep. As we slowly drift toward the end of our 8th chapter, we find ourselves moving deeper and deeper into the quiet. We have explored the outer reaches of the cosmos, the inner depths of the ocean, the smallest particles of reality, and the infinite theatre of the mind. And yet, we are only just beginning to touch the surface of the grand, gentle enigma that is life itself. But for now, just rest. Let the darkness be your guide. The dream is coming, and it is a gentle, welcoming place. As we slowly move away from the surreal, shifting architecture of our own dreams, we gently return to the surface of the world. We find ourselves standing on the edge of an ancient forest. As the last faint violet light of the evening finally gives way to the deep velvet blue of the night. Everything here is still. The trees, these magnificent, towering beings that have stood watch for centuries, are softly holding their breath. You might imagine that a forest at night is a place of darkness and silence. But if you listen closely, if you allow your awareness to soften and expand, you realize that the forest is deeply, profoundly alive. It is communicating. For a long time, science looked at trees as individuals. We saw them as isolated beings, each one competing for a patch of sunlight, each one struggling alone against the winds and the cold. We thought of them as silent, wooden statues, slowly growing in the background of our busy lives. But as we began to study the intricate, hidden world beneath the soil, we discovered a mystery so elegant, so beautifully connected, that it changed our understanding of nature entirely. Beneath your feet, right now, beneath the layer of fallen leaves and soft, damp earth, there is an entire world of life, a vast, complex, and invisible network of fungi. Scientists call this the mycorrhizal network. You might imagine a delicate web of threads, thinner than a human hair, spreading out from the roots of every tree, connecting them to each other. It is a biological internet, an underground, living communication system that links every tree in the forest into a single, cohesive, and supportive family. Through these fungal threads, trees talk to one another. When a mother tree, a grand ancient oak, or a towering pine senses that the weather is turning cold, or that a drought is setting in, she sends messages through the network. She warns the saplings in the shade, the young, fragile trees that are struggling for light. And she does more than just warn them. In some cases, the mother tree will actually send them sugar. She will pump energy, precious, hard-won light she has captured from the sun, through the fungal web to feed the trees that cannot reach the canopy. It is a quiet, profound act of altruism. A forest is not a battlefield. It is a community. It is a social structure built on patience, on cooperation, and on a deep, ancient wisdom that we are only just beginning to learn. There are even tales of trees recognizing their own kin. An ancient tree can sense the roots of its offspring, and it will adjust its growth. It will change the way it stretches its branches to give them more room to grow, more light to thrive. It is almost as if the entire forest is one vast, slow-moving brain, a brain that thinks in the language of chemistry and time, a brain that has been quietly observing the seasons, the animals, and the slow turn of the stars for thousands of years. There is a sense of wonder in knowing this. As you stand here, or as you imagine standing here, you are surrounded by a living, breathing intelligence. You are standing in a place where connection is the foundation of survival. The forest reminds us that we are never truly alone. Even when we feel isolated, even when the world feels vast and overwhelming, we are part of a larger, interconnected web of life. We are held in a world that is designed to support, to nurture, and to sustain. And as the night deepens, the trees continue their slow, rhythmic breath. They are breathing in the carbon that we breathe out, and they are breathing out the oxygen that allows us to live. It is a beautiful, eternal cycle, a gentle, shared breath that connects every living thing on this planet. You can feel that connection now. Take a slow, deep breath in, and as you do, imagine you are breathing in the cool, crisp air of the forest. Feel the oxygen, the breath of the trees, entering your body. It is a gift, a quiet, invisible exchange that has been happening since the very beginning of life on Earth. And as you exhale, you are returning that gift to the world. There is no boundary here. The air that was inside the forest is now inside you, and the air that was inside you will soon drift back out to the forest. You are part of the breath of the world. Let this thought help you sink deeper into relaxation. There is no need to worry about being separate. There is no need to feel like an individual struggling against the world. You are a part of a vast, thriving, intelligent community of life. You are supported. You are connected. As you lie here, let your breathing slow down to match the slow, steady pace of the trees. In and out. The forest is quiet tonight. The winds are still. The stars are looking down through the canopy, their soft, silvery light filtering through the leaves, casting gentle, dancing patterns on the ground. You are safe in this quiet wooden sanctuary. Allow your body to become as still as a tree, rooted, grounded, peaceful. If your mind has been busy today, if you have felt rushed or scattered, let those feelings drop away like dead leaves from a branch. Let them fall to the earth to be recycled, to be transformed, to be forgotten. You do not need those worries anymore. You are entering a state of deep, forest-like calm. The mycorrhizal network is holding you. The air is sustaining you. The stillness is protecting you. Everything is slow. Everything is soft. Drift deeper into the quiet. Drift into the beautiful, ancient peace of the woods, where time is measured not by minutes or hours, but by the slow, steady growth of life itself. There is no rush to wake. There is only the gentle, rhythmic turning of the night. And as you rest, the forest watches over you. We have explored so many wonders tonight. The dark mysteries of the cosmos, the silent pulse of the ocean, the invisible quantum dance, the internal theatre of dreams, and the quiet, cooperative wisdom of the trees. And yet, as we approach the very end of our journey, we find that the greatest mystery of all is the simple, beautiful ability to let go. But there is one final chapter left to explore, one last mystery to hold in our minds as we drift into the deepest state of rest. But for now, just rest. Breathe with the trees. Be still with the forest. Everything is peaceful. Everything is well. As we reach this final, gentle space, our long, quiet journey through the mysteries of science and nature comes to a soft, graceful pause. We have drifted far from the cold, beautiful expanse of the cosmic web down into the heavy, midnight stillness of the deep ocean. We have peered into the invisible, shimmering world of the quantum, touched the ancient, rhythmic pulse of the living forest, and wandered through the surreal theatre of our own dreams. And now, as the night deepens, we find ourselves standing on the ultimate horizon. We are looking out toward the very edge of everything we can ever hope to know. You might imagine that science is a bridge built of facts and measurements and laws, stretching out into the dark. We use it to walk away from the shores of ignorance, further and further into the light of understanding. But as we stand here, on the outermost edge of that bridge, we realize that the dark is still vast. There is a profound beauty in this. It is not a limitation, it is a promise. The mystery is not a sign that we have failed. It is a sign that the universe is infinite. It is a reminder that no matter how much we learn, no matter how sharp our telescopes become, or how deep our computers can calculate, the cosmos will always have room for wonder. It is a reminder that we are forever students. We are not here to own the truth. We are here to enjoy the search. Think of the mysteries we have touched upon tonight. The dark matter that holds the galaxies in their slow, silent embrace. The invisible magnetic compass that guides the smallest butterfly across the sea. The fleeting, surreal echo of déjà vu, the quantum dance of the particles, the silent, ancient language of the trees. They are all pieces of a tapestry that is far too large for us to see in its entirety. And perhaps that is the final, gentle secret of the universe. The mystery is not something to be solved. The mystery is the environment in which we live. It is the atmosphere of our existence. It is the very thing that makes life worth living. If we knew everything, if the universe were a closed book with no more pages to turn, there would be no more room for imagination. There would be no more quiet hum of curiosity, no more wonder at the sunrise, no more awe at the starlight. But as it is, the world remains full of beautiful, unmapped territories. And as you lie here, in this final, most peaceful space, you can let go of the need for an answer to everything. You do not need to know what lies beyond the event horizon. You do not need to know the origin of the first spark of life. You do not need to solve the riddle of your own consciousness. You are allowed to simply exist within the mystery. You are a temporary, beautiful manifestation of the universe itself, and for a few short moments, you have been given the gift of awareness. You have been given the eyes to see the stars, the ears to hear the wind, and the heart to feel the quiet, profound peace of the night. That is enough. It has always been enough. As you surrender yourself to this final stage of relaxation, feel your entire body sinking, not just into the bed, but into the support of the world itself. Feel the gravity, that gentle, invisible hand holding you securely against the earth. You are a part of this planet. You are anchored to it. You are safe. Feel the air, that soft, invisible sea that surrounds you. It is moving in and out of your body, connecting you to the trees, the oceans, and the life of the entire world. You are not separate. You are part of the vast, interconnected, unfolding mystery. Let your breathing become barely a whisper. So slow, so shallow, so calm. In and out. With every exhale, feel yourself dissolving into the peace. The edges of your body are no longer sharp. You are melting into the darkness, merging with the quiet of the room, becoming one with the deep, restorative silence of the night. The questions of the day are gone. The pursuit of knowledge is finished. All that remains is the quiet, the beautiful, infinite, peaceful quiet. You are drifting now, past the horizon of everything, floating into the deepest, softest state of rest. The universe will continue to turn. The stars will continue their slow dance. The trees will continue their quiet breath. Everything is in perfect order. Everything is being taken care of. You do not need to do anything at all. You can just be, deeply, peacefully, asleep, drifting, resting. Everything is perfectly quiet.